So good evening everyone. Today we are going to take a break from reviewing Longshot games and instead we're going to switch Go Masters because in case you might be new to Go or some such thing, there have been quite a few Go Masters over the centuries, and the one we're going to go over now is Honinbo Dosaku. He, believe it or not, you will not be able to tell from the opening, but like Longshot, we're talking about 1600s. Right now we are talking about late 1600s. I think this game in particular took place 1672, to give you an idea of when this game was played. Though, despite that, you might hear 1672 and you might immediately think, oh, so we're going to see another one of these kind of games, right? But we are not. China and Japan were quite different. We are not going to see that sort of thing. We're actually going to see openings a little bit similar to what you would expect nowadays, with subtle differences. We are going to see heavy focus on territory, believe it or not. We don't really see the fast frameworks and whatnot that you might expect in true games that are played nowadays, because that was a bit more of a modern development. You might want to also note, as being pointed out in chat, that Dosaku is also given credit for how we think about Fuseki. So, kind of an important deal, the game that I picked in particular today, I probably should have left for the last game of his that we look at. Because of the games that I've seen of his so far, this one is the most, what's the word to use here? It's a bit complicated. It is a bit complicated. But it's also a fun little roller coaster. And I don't really want to expand on what I mean by that. And I kind of just want to take you guys along for the ride and show you why I call it a fun little roller coaster. So to that end, I'm double checking that I got the names correct. Yes, okay, so Dosaku is black nowadays. Or not nowadays, in this game rather. And rather than the 4/4s, we are immediately opening up something slightly different and playing the 5/3. So, much like we saw different Jiseki last time in our set with Longshot, we're probably going to be seeing some different Jiseki as well in here, given the fact that we are starting off star point. White takes a 3/4. They say Dosaku is the one who devised the dawn ranking system. That one I did not know. Black approaches immediately rather than take a corner. That's actually very interesting. That kind of goes in line with something that we would kind of contemplate seeing nowadays. We might, if this was a 4/4, maybe see something along the lines of that. Just to see if our opponent backs off. So we could try and fall back into a Chinese variation. You sometimes see things like that. Sometimes. But here, we see white or black approach. White has choices. We could take corners. They're still open. He chooses to pincer. Black says, okay, I'm going to take another corner for myself. So already a very, very weird opening, in my opinion, because I am not a very large fan of the 5/3 stone. I'm more of a traditionalist. I like the 4/4s, I like the 3/4s. Not so much of a fan of these other plays, but we'll see. We'll probably see what he intends to do with it. White obviously takes the corner. We would never, for example, follow up and allow our opponent to take the final corner, because we haven't even killed this stone yet. We need another stone for it to die, which means another move given to your opponent. That's really too much. That's really too much. Very, very over-concentrated. So White takes corner. Black approaches. In this regard, we're a bit more in line with the games that we saw from Longshot with quick approaches. Getting a bit aggressive, right? White pincers. At this point, I'm kind of a little bit worried for White, because right off the bat, I would be worried that we're really low here. We've got 2 stones that we can't kill. I'm not really sure where we're going from here. Not really sure where we're going from here. Like, what's the goal? What are we actually trying to develop? Black reapproaches. White plays to keep separated. Keep in mind, if we played here, not sure if they would have back then, but if we did play here, keep in mind that we could play away for a very long time, because it takes quite a few moves in order to kill it, right? We could potentially get enclosures and extensions while we're giving up the stone, and even after that, we would still have follow-ups to sacrifice. So we're going to do a diagonal instead. Okay, put some pressure on stones. Keep separated. White backs off. Low rather than high. Nowadays we would probably back off high, absolutely. But Dosaku backed off low. White says, is this yeah, actually, okay, good. White says, can I have your corner? Because again, we're not gonna play here, right? Because we need more moves in order to kill this stone. If we don't, then we've got forcing moves here. We've got things in the corner still. We can still play over here. This is not dead yet. This is not dead yet. So if you follow up and try to kill this, then your opponent's going to get another move, and then I guess you're going to follow up again and kill off the stone. That, again, seems a little over-concentrated, so you're not going to do that. There is no way you are going to do that and start giving more of your opponent the board, right? There's no way you're doing that. So we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to approach. And black takes the corner, as expected. So now we have a Dosaku you've probably seen before. It's a very, very straightforward one. From here, normally we'd want to either come out or get a base or something. But white is interesting. I thought white's play in this game was very interesting. Because from these stones, rather than try and get a base, rather than go back here and be be potentially over-concentrated, rather than go off and play here and try to make a fast framework on top of the board, you played here. The idea being incredibly simple to follow. Incredibly simple to follow. Doot and doot. We're going to try to make a really large wall with a forcing move that we just played and see where that takes us. Why? Because our opponent is really low. So I thought that was pretty cool, as we see here. And in fact, black just goes along with it, and by playing these low moves, right? We have some incredibly low moves here. So he goes underneath. Black gets the second shoulder hidden. Cutting point. Same thing. If we can get our opponent, and this is actually really big, if we can get our opponent to play here with the core nice and strong, then we might be able to get to play something like this. And if he drops down, we get to play something like this. I moved the stones, my bad. And if he protects, then we could play something like this. And if he connects, then we could threaten to like kill him. Right? We have so many force moves on the outside, it'd just make your head spin. So rather than leave that really huge weakness behind, he plays here. Thinking about shape. Seems like Bats is talking to himself. That is true. Isn't it early for this kind of move? Hard to know if it will pay off. The shoulder hit? No, actually. Actually, no. Actually, no. Because black is so low, and the board is so open, it actually makes a lot of sense. It actually makes a lot of sense. Especially when we get to this position, and we see nice shape that white has. Especially when we get to this position, and we see things like, well, couldn't we still like make this go further? And go over top? It seems like we can use this. It seems like we can use this. Let's see. Hello, Andril, Integral, Lara, and some. Wouldn't black enclosing the upper right kind of negate the influence that white is getting? No, actually. That is also not true. I think we see that too, don't we? Yes, we do. Sweet. So, right off the top of my head, one modern way of dealing with this would be to say, well, what if I just attach to you, right? And we go into this kind of variation. We can lean on strong stones to get stronger, right? That would be one idea that we could possibly foresee. Not going to see it in this kind of game. I think this kind of idea kind of originated a lot more recently, as far as I'm aware. But it's interesting because we still do see the attempt to build influence here. And I thought this was actually an interesting game to go over because we're probably going to be seeing in our modern games a bit more influential play lately. And you can thank bots for that. Well, I guess I couldn't call them bots. I mean AI. And as is, even if we don't play the attachment, there's still a lot of room up here. So white decides to extend. Just going by the good old corner side centering. Yes, that is true. That is actually true. Alright, so now we have a choice to make. We are not going to play here. Anyone who actually wanted to, take out a ruler and smack your hand. That is a bad move. Too small. Much too small. All you're really doing is trying to poke white into developing more. So this is not such a good move. So where are dem good moves? I guess you could try to reduce. You will get into a fight though, as white comes up with a white stone and a black stone. Why a 4-space extension? Well, he clearly did not want to go too close to the wall for fear of being pincered. At the same time, he didn't want to not extend far enough away and wind up being over-concentrated. So black says, I'm going to go back and play here. It's like an interesting move. We can see that it's beginning to get into the middle, where we might have to reduce. We shall have to wait and see. White backs off. Black gets to connect. White says, I'm going to have to settle myself now. Black is going to surround you at that point. And white defends his stones. Nice peaceful result here, I have to say. Nice and peaceful. Very nice and peaceful. So far, we have a very different game. And I want to point this out for a couple of reasons that will make sense to you much later on. We've got black playing a very territorial game versus white that's trying to play an influential one with these high moves. Just so we're all on the same page. Just so we're all on the same page. Black redirects, trying to do the exact same thing over here as he did on the other side of the board. White says, that seems like an okay thing to do. Once again, we back off low. Very low. Very weird, too, because normally, nowadays, especially if it was against a student, I'd be like, you know what, maybe you should be playing high, because clearly your opponent wants the influence, right? So you probably don't want to play low and remain flat, and give him that potential influence. But alright, black's got no fear in his game. It's like, yeah, he's got influence, man, whatever. That, someone followed and I'm too far away to read it, so I'll just say thank you for the follow. I appreciate the follow. I will look at your name later, sir. Or ma'am. White throws in. Black says, okay, I must capture. White says, yes, you do. Now here's where interesting things occur. Excuse me, occur. If we drop down, then we're going to get cut because the Atari leads into an Atari. Right? So we can't play that one. If we Hane, there's the Atari. We could Atari, but the take is going to, again, break through, right? Unless we then connect, and then we get to extend further out, and these stones are going to be disconnected, right? So that doesn't work. Is that complicated? That's complicated, wasn't it? I should show that. I'm sorry, I should show that. I'm saying if we go here, and we go here, and then black goes here, and takes the stone, then one of two things is going to happen. Either white's going to block this, and then black's going to cut, or white's going to connect this, and black's going to come on out, and then these stones are in a lot of trouble for white, right? So we can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do. So what are we going to do? I don't know what this war looks like. I'm lost. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Okay, this moves up on the board. Sorry, my fingers are not working today. Were we here? Yes, we were. Okay, good. So instead of doing... Wait, we have too many board. Yeah, this one needs to come off. There we go. Now we're okay. So instead of that, instead of descending or playing the Hane, we play what MCLP has said, and we clamp. Black goes underneath to an Atari, but white gets to connect and ruin all of these stones in this nice perfect little line. There we go. So it seems like he's kind of getting what he wants, right? We have influence. We are told many, many times that influence is not for developing territory. Influence is for attacking things. And sure enough, we see the influence game kind of being played out here. We managed to disconnect. Maybe we can attack now. So, black does not play away. That would be going fishing when your house is on fire. A proverb that we do not want to break. He defends. That defense, though, means that we are okay here. White is still okay here. White is still okay here. White is still okay there, and still okay here. So we have Sente. So as Sente, we have a choice. We can go and try and profit. Or we can keep this low again and try to develop the center. He does this to play the center game. He is trying to make his zones all work together. That is to be respected. Again, same thing. We're going and taking our territories. Nice little forcing moves, right? I want to point out one more time. How low black is. Black is playing a very territorial game here, over there, and here, right? Very territorial. Where white has a bit of territory of his own, a little bit of territory of his own, and he's getting influence for himself on both sides of the board. Why I keep coming back to this, you will see shortly. So white says I'm going to cut you, rather, sorry. Black says I'm going to connect. White says poke, poke, poke. Poke train coming through. Black defends. White cuts. I'm pretty certain that we connect that, though I haven't looked. We do, right? Yes, we do. And then extends. So, it would appear that we now have cut black into two different groups. It would appear that we are now forcing black to do what white really, really wants, and that is lean against the cutting stones in order to not be dead, which should potentially give a lot of strength and influence to white as we lean against these cutting stones, right? So I thought when I first started reviewing this game that maybe I picked a game, or I was looking at a game that Dosaku lost. And I thought the entire game was going to be very straightforward. We live here without giving white too much, or we lose the game, right? But this game is a lot more complicated than that. I can tell you right now, no one has any idea of the roller coaster that begins right now. And we start off simply by attacking the cutting stones and trying to make shape. White says I poke you, because that's your shape point. And then comes on out. It's like, let's take us on this magical journey together. Defending both areas simultaneously usually does not go well for the person having to do such things. I mean, look at the board that we have right now for black. I mean, you know black wins the game, right? Because I wouldn't start off like, hey, we're looking at Dosaku games, and here's the one that he lost. That I could do that, and that might be funny, but it's not what I'm doing. So you know this is a board that he wins from. So the question is how? Because this seems like a nightmare. This seems like the worst case imaginable in one of our games. If I was here as black, I would be like, we just don't win this game. Because cutting two groups up, having stuff in both places is incredibly difficult. Let's get rid of them liberties. Them liberties and liberties gonna walk around. Solidifying this area for eyes. It looks extremely bad for black. I know, right? Whose turn is it? White just took. But it begins off by finding this squeeze. If you do not find this squeeze in this game, you probably will lose it. Because right now we are actually becoming quite okay through the sheer merit of the fact that white can't cut us there. If white cuts us there, it leads into a ladder. Actually, does it actually even lead to a ladder? Yeah, kind of does. Kind of does. A little bit. So we play here. Force a defense out of our opponent, hopefully. It's like, I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you. This move is really, really nice. This move here is incredibly nice. Because if we just connect, we give Sente to our opponent. But this cut is going to force Smaji. Right? Smaji. White Atari. And black extend. Follows. Boop. You can see where this is going. Kills off stones. Now we defend, because white just forced us to. And then white defends. Nice bamboo joint there. So far, no eyes obtained here. This group's still running. Let's see where we go from here. Black diagonals again, putting pressure on the center group. White says that's okay. I'm profiting off as a cut point in an attempt to make all of that crap nice and large. Yeah, white did get squeezed. That is true. White did get quite squeezed over here. But if you contemplate the fact that, you know, this throw-in exists, and then we're going to have to, like, fill off these stones as well, black's shape doesn't look all that great either, right? It's just these haven't had to be filled in yet. Black shape's not looking the best either. Black's not looking the best either. We both have pretty bad shapes. black comes out, threatening center group again. Ryutari defending a cutting point. And now, I admit, I kind of still dig white. Because it looks like he's got the cutting stones he's attacking now. But this group is also in trouble still. Because there's like no eyes here. Right? So you kind of see how I mentioned that this game is a little bit complicated, but it's a roller coaster. And I don't want to give away more than that. So many diagonals? Yep, here's another one for you. They're both playing diagonals. They are not trying to play one-point jumps. They're not playing small knights, because those things can be cut through. They're playing very, very careful moves. Time to defend. Our cutting point, like so. That's an Atari, right? So we live. Which means we get to come out. We defended our group, our cutting stones in Sente, right? So here we go. Black has a new goal in life. That is not die in the middle of the board, where all this influence is staring back at him. Can't push again without getting cut, so we must protect. Which allows white to peep. White tries to surround. So we have a big scary game. Big scary game from white, right? I mean, I'm sorry, maybe I like flashy play. Maybe I like big, flashy, like aggressive, bold play. But I don't know, I kind of like white. I kind of like white. It's like, oh my god, I'm going to kill you. That's my goal. Mr. I'm going to go around the board taking territory. I'm just going to kill you. It's like stupid, playing all these slow moves on the third line. And second line connecting on up. What's the matter with you? We're going to play in the middle. Now it looks bad for B. Yeah, you see how this game is a bit of a roller coaster? We were like, oh, I don't like white shape. I think black's looking okay. And then people say like, oh, I think black's looking too bad. I don't want to be him. This game is a crazy fun roller coaster. Takes a moment to go after a shape. Now this I want to heavily lean on, because this kind of thing is something that amateurs miss. And by amateurs, I kind of mean cues. You're fighting, and the only thing that you can think of is, oh, I need to not die. And then you don't counterattack, right? And so your opponent keeps putting more and more pressure on you because you never put counter pressure on him or her, whatever. And so you just can't figure out how to fight because everything goes not your way when it breaks out. And the reason why is because you don't try to throw any counter punches of your own. You're just sitting there trying to block all of your opponent's punches with your face. And that's usually not a good thing to do. So he's poking at his own shape. Which brings the question, can I cut here later? Right? We're asking a very interesting question there. So we're going to connect here, like so. Getting ourselves an eye, but I'm afraid we need two. White defends. Leaning on them stones. Getting himself nice and strong. Black, not taking for granted the fact that he has one eye, also leans on them stones. Black, White, ever the aggressor, says yes. You should struggle against this. That way maybe I can kill you in the middle of the board again. Once again, have to lean against our opponent's stones in order to try to find our eyes. White's like, yep, I'm surrounding you. Honey. Gets a cutting point. B gets cutting point because these stones, little bit of trouble, right? You can see what we're fighting for. White's like, I don't care, got my eye on the prize. My prize is that center. I will sacrifice everything for it. Maybe not in Sente. Thanks that stupid Hane, maybe not in Sente, but I will sacrifice everything for it. Do we? I don't think we do that, do we? Yes, we do. Okay, never mind. Tari. I think we Tari now, yes. Okay. And then we take, right? Yeah, okay. Got parts of this game memorized. Did review it a couple of times. But you can see the song and dance he has to go through in order to live here. He is so struggling in order to not be dead. Protecting the cutting point. Taking stone. And connecting on up. So it looks like Black will absolutely live here, right? He gets in the forcing moves. White gets in the connection. We get to take, which is a huge threat, oh my god, for the entire group. So we're not going to play that, there's no way. Threatens to cut off now. So White says no. Because that right there is something that would kill you. If you answer this too quickly, and Black separates you, you just died. That's game over, man. If you respond knee-jerk like that to just be like, alright, yeah, you do that, bam, I keep you in, then you're dead. Game over. GG. You don't have a single eye mate over here yet. So instead we connect, which allows Black to get out. Which allows Black to get out. And thus the roller coaster continues. And thus the roller coaster continues. White connects to remain out. White defends himself. Can you see why White has to defend himself? Can you see why White has to defend himself? Do you see what just happened? With this group right here, that has now apparently been surrounded with all of this thickness. This was a game in which White had influence, right? He developed influence here, he developed influence here. We had cutting stones, we were fighting the cutting stones. Now keep in mind, part of the reason why this attack is severe right now against White is because of this move. You take it away, and then maybe white keeps pressure on black instead. Right? Part of the reason why this is so severe is because black played the forcing move first to really eat into white's eye shape. You see how cool this one move is? There's one move right here. Black turns, settling himself. White, or wait, sorry, wait. I removed that stone. Yeah, we went here. Then we went here. I took it off because I went and did something else with it, didn't I? Yeah, I removed that to show you. Right. There we go. Nice and strong response. Getting that there connection. Cut. Has to defend, otherwise we're going to get eaten by monsters. If we get too overzealous and try to kill right now, that cut gets activated, and then the top's going to get killed. So we need to be nice and strong. Gotta get nice and strong. So now what do? We have Sente. Let's go after the group again. Black's just like, screw that. I'm connecting. I'm not going to lean against your stone. Not doing anything here. Just going to connect. White's like, alright, I'm going to poke you then. Now you're going to respond, right? Because like if I play something in here, we can cut through you, right? Yeah, no, not at all. Actually, black just connects on up. White says, okay. I'm not letting you get away with all this crap. That group is freaking weak. I'm attacking you. You're the one under attack. Notice me, senpai. See if we can get in the eyes. Looks like we got one. Potentially, anyway. Tick. Boop. Hey, look. Go threats. How fortuitous. Da-da-da. Threats against center group. We must not be dead. Black then ignores, saying I'm alive. White's like, really? Black says, yeah, really, I'm fine. Got my two eyes. We're all good. White says, really? It's like, yep. I still got them. Two eyes are right there. They're nicely formed. It's like, oh. What are my corners enclosed? Guess I gotta defend now. And suddenly the board feels very, very terrible for white. We feel really, really bad for white at this point. Now we get pokes over here. We get our eyes being removed up here. Nicely forcing. Yay. But white says, I take you. He has not given up quite yet. And then black connects. So we have to as well. Threatening to get rid of all base. So we have to connect over here. There's no more territory on top of the board, really. Sadness. All of that was in Sente, so we have to go back and defend. Black does. Pokes. Doesn't respond here. Responds here because there's a much larger endgame. Right? Because we respond here, then there's like this, and then this, and then Hane, and then the connect, and we have to connect again. So this is pretty good for endgame. Get to drop down. Get to connect. Corner nice and solid. Corner nice and solid. Wait, did I? Oh, forgot to play black stone. There we go. And like so. Defending this on Ariana. Black takes. Saving stones. Trying to save stones. Would really love to save stones. Nice solid cut. Got to save stones. Same thing. Go back to Ko. Ah, no, shoot. Okay, you're captured. I think you're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be there. Oh, that's not that's not the shape. That is clearly not the shape. Oh, this one doesn't make sense. Okay, so you're supposed to be here, and then there. There we go. Gotcha. Sorry. Sorry. Nah, we're good. Yeah, my fingers are cold today for some reason. I'm blaming it on cold fingers. I'm blaming it on cold fingers. Defend. So it looks like our roller coaster has come to a halt, and it is time to everyone to get off and throw up over how bizarre of a game this has been. But not yet. Not yet, there is more. Right here. The last bit of Aji in the center of the board. White says, alright, I'm going to connect. Poking against the corner. Same. Need to force white to live in the corner. Killing off the 2 stones, reviving ours. Forcing. Forcing. Trying to capture the 2 stones. Connect, because the core needs to live. That move is really, really cool. That move is really, really cool. Because with this, we can drop down here and connect up, right? Because the key to this move is realizing if we drop down here, we're not going to connect on this side, right? We're going to connect on this side. If we connect over here, we don't actually have a liberty problem. But if we connect over here, then we have potential liberty problem, and having to connect and then take, and it's no good. So the key to that, realize, is that black is going to connect, is going to drop down and connect this way, and not this way, because this way is liberty shortage. White connects, and we take. Come here, stones. Doop, doop. Can we get eye here? Maybe. Maybe, right? Maybe. Defends his stones in Sente. Goes back and connects. And thus brings us to the end of our game. Because there's no way for white to live. There's no way. This is impossible. Because this, we could make an eye here. But then there's this. Admittedly, if you get your connection wrong here, you're going to die. Like if we connect this way, as previously mentioned, then that's no good, right? Because we'll get to connect here and then we'll get taken. And that's obviously not good. But if we don't connect this way, and we connect this way, and white drops down here, then we can connect over here and not care, because that's no problem. So this is irrelevant. And thus, this stone ensures that killing these 2 stones is Gote, and we can't get the other one in Sente. Like, there's no Sente move here for an eye, and there's no Sente move here for an eye.